Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. It is Friday 10th of November. The Beatles Red and Blue on vinyl have been reissued, as well as the CDs. I did a CD show and review a few days ago, but I've just picked up the vinyl this morning, which was a story in itself I might tell during this video. Here's the red, I've got the blue here as well. I'm going to show you everything that's in here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the sound quality. I'm going to show you some stuff about how the vinyl differs from the CD. And I'm going to be doing a couple more videos at least on red and blue and now and then. I'll be doing a live stream fairly soon, so if you want to see that live stream where you can come and join in and tell everybody your thoughts about everything that's come out over the last week or so, then make sure you're subscribed, because then you'll get a notification to tell you that I'm about to go live on that. And I'm also going to do like a sort of a wrap up, okay, final thoughts, I've had a chance to take it all in, here's what I think. But for now, here's the red vinyl. So, the Beatles 1962 to 1966 red. There's your front cover. This is triple vinyl, but like I said, I'll show you everything that's in there. You've got the now and then photos, as we might call them, even though the now is 54 years old. It's definitely a darker apple that they're using on this release than we've seen previously, as I showed on the CDs as well. So this is a gatefold. This opens up to show that photo from the Mad Day Out in the summer of 1968. Again, I've always thought it's a bit weird that they put this in 62 to 66, but it's always been like that. There is a difference here in the track listing, or the order of the tracks, should I say, between the vinyl version and the CD versions here. So there are new tracks. So for example, on Red, we've got 12 extra tracks that have been added to Red compared to your previous version of the Red album. And on vinyl, those extra 12 all appear together on a third disc. So the first two discs here are the traditional track listing for the Red album, whereas on the CD they've put them more or less in chronological order. So there's theories about why that's happened. There are rumours that, for example, these were pressed, or the first two discs of the Red and Blue were pressed on vinyl before the decision to add extra tracks. I don't know how true that is, but that is the rumour that's circulating. So let's show you exactly what's in here. So I'll show you the hype sticker first of all, get you a good view of that so that you can see what it's telling you on there. And inside the vinyl there is a, well, inside both the red and the blue, there is a sheet. It's different in each, but it's a bit strange as this. I was a bit confused as to exactly why they've done it like this. So, for example, in the Red album, you've got the Beatles 62 to 66, and it's got a lot of information about the early years. This is written by John Harris this year. A lot of information about the early years, but from about here onwards and to the end, it then sort of goes on to 1967 onwards and sort of gives a very brief overview of their impact and what they were doing then. Whereas in the Blue album, you'll see it's quite different. I'm not quite sure why they've done it like that, but hey-ho, fair enough. So, when we look inside the gatefold, you will see inside the first sleeve, there is one disc. And that's where that red sheet that I showed you also lives as well. And in the second sleeve, there are the other two discs. So, let's show you what these discs are going to look like. I'm not going to get all 6 discs out from each record, because I'll get one out from Red and one out from Blue, and you'll get the idea there. So this is side 1 of disc 1. So let's get you a good close-up of that. Starting off with Love Me Do. So obviously the very early years there, and if we flip it over to side 2, we've got the cut apple there, and you'll see the track listing there for that. Like I say, the traditional Red album track listing that you'll have been familiar with, because on vinyl they've put all the extra tracks onto an additional disc, which confused me, because I was looking for, I saw her standing there for reasons that I will come on to soon, and I thought, where the heck is it? It's not there. Oh yeah, of course, it's on the third disc, isn't it? So a little confusing. So yeah, in there the other two discs come out. Let's just make sure you can see what the sleeves are like that they're in. They are quite a shiny sleeve that have literally just got lyrics and songwriting credits on. All 3 are the same, so again, I don't need to show you all 3 of those. And the discs are all the same style as well. So when I did my CD showing a few days ago, I talked about several of the songs that I'd had a good listen to and that I'd compared to other versions that I previously had. So I'm not going to cover that ground again. That video's there for anybody who wants to watch it. It's the video previous to this one. But I do know a few more of the songs now. So I'm going to talk about a few things on the Red album first. And bear in mind that most of my listening so far has been through headphones. Good quality headphones. A few people have asked me what headphones I've got. There you go. Some good Grado headphones. So most of my listening has been through these so far, and there's a lot of detail. When I talk about the things like the separation that you hear and certain bits of instrumentation that I've maybe not heard as much in other versions, headphones of course naturally lend themselves to picking that detail out a little bit more. And I have noticed that when I've played either the CDs or just a little bit of vinyl that I've done before making this video, that I don't pick out quite as much through my speakers. It's a good system I've got here, but I think through headphones you certainly pick out more. And a general thing I think about this Red and Blue release is that I think a lot of it is designed to bring in new fans, and I don't say that as a bad thing at all. I think the Beatles want their legacy to go on and on. There's enough bands of that era and people of that era who are getting forgotten about by the modern generation. Then all credit to the Beatles if they can keep the young uns interested, as they seem to be doing a pretty good job of. You need things like this as examples to keep the young ones streaming, get that new generation interested. So I'm not going to criticise for that, but I think it is something to bear in mind. So anyway, like I said, I've talked about a few of these songs. I will briefly mention that my opinion so far of She Loves You seems to be quite different to a lot of other people's opinions. I was very favourable of it, but like I say, it was through headphones where I found I could pick out more than I could pick out through speakers. And I'm still very favourable about She Loves You. I'm not going to back down on that just because that seems to be a bit of an unpopular opinion. It is going to sound a little bit unpicked because you are creating something stereo for the first time that we've not had in stereo. It will sound a little bit separated to what it's all been previously in mono. I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison between what's on the CD and what's on vinyl. Now, when I ripped my CDs onto my computer losslessly, the one that I saw was the highest bit rate, that's got the most information in there, really surprised me. It was I Saw Her Standing There. It's not the one that I would have guessed would have had the most information packed into it. So I've got a waveform for the CD version of I Saw Her Standing There and the vinyl, which I did just before I started recording this video. And you can see the difference here. That now they've both got limiting on. They both very definitely cut off at a certain level. But the vinyl has certainly got a little bit more dynamics in there than the CD. The CD is not actually too bad. It's not completely brick-walled, but it's not bad. The vinyl, you can see there's a little bit more going on there, highs and lows, so that was good to see. So, A Hard Day's Night sounds fantastic. I love that, and I love her. It's a very sort of meaty mix, and it's got a lot of warmth to it, and I'm really enjoying that. Yesterday's fantastic with the strings, the violins and viola. I apologise, I got called out by somebody a couple of days ago because I didn't mention the viola, and they thought that, what, they've removed it? No, I just didn't mention viola. Viola and violins on one side, cello on the other, Paul and his guitar down the middle. Brilliant. We Can Work It Out, I haven't talked about that one yet. Fantastic. I love this mix of We Can Work It Out. It really does the song a lot of justice. In the middle section, the Life is Very Short section, there's a beautiful bit of rhythm guitar going on that when I went back to previous versions, I could hear it, but not as well as I could hear it in here. And it's a real nice sort of rhythm on this rhythm guitar. Ding, 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 through that bit that's really nice. That's my technical term for it. And the other ones that I really like on this, You Can't Do That, which gives us a real good flavour. Between that and A Hard Day's Night and I Love Her, gives us the impression that a Hard Day's Night reissue could sound really good. If I Needed Someone, which is of course one of the new tracks on the third disc. I love this new mix of If I Needed Someone. It's really meaty, it's got balls. It's almost sort of made it into a bit more of a a rock song than a pop song, just with the way that it's brought out some of those guitar parts. And I think the thing for me, the big winner on these albums for me, the big winners are John and George's guitars and Ringo's drums. They're the things for me that really stand out as being just improved in the mixes. So I'm really happy with those. So I've still got more to learn about these Red and Blue albums, as we all have. It's very new to all of us, and that's why I'm going to be doing more videos, bringing you more on that. So that's the Red album. I'm going to show you the Blue album now. So let's put Red to a side and have a look at the Blue. So first of all, let's get you a look at the hype sticker from the vinyl. So there you go, get you a good look at that. And like I say, there is a sheet in there, like the red sheet that we saw, that gave us sort of a potted history of the band, that strangely went from 1967 onwards briefly, whereas this one just starts where the Blue album starts. So they're not quite consistent between the Red and the Blue sheets. But again, we've got 2 pages here written by John Harris. I'm sure he had his reasons. I don't want to criticise that, but it's just something that I noticed as I couldn't quite figure out the reason why. So the Red album sheet covers a bit of the Blue album, but the Blue album sheet doesn't cover any of the Red album. So that comes inside this. I haven't shown you this yet. Here you go. Here's the front cover of the Blue album. It's notable that on the streaming versions, the album artwork that they've used for Red and Blue has thicker border, but it also says in a similar font to this, it says 2023 edition down at the bottom, which none of the physical versions do. So interesting that they've gone with a different artwork for streaming than they have for the physical versions. There's your side spine there. Did I show you the back cover? There's the back cover. Again, it opens out into a gatefold using a picture from the 1968 Mad Day Out, the photo that it's always used. And again, there's this difference here, whereas on the CD they've gone fairly chronological. Here, the first 2 discs are As You Know for the Blue album, and then the additional tracks that have been added are all together on the 3rd disc. So the interesting change that makes, the most notable change that makes, is that on the CD, where you've got Back in the USSR followed by Dear Prudence, with a clean break on USSR, clean intro on Dear Prudence, here they're split over different discs. So Back in the USSR, that was always on the Blue album, is on one of the first 2 discs, and Dear Prudence is completely separate on a 3rd vinyl disc. So that was the most noticeable thing I saw about the change in tracks. So we've got, here's the inside sleeve that your record's coming in. Again, it's quite a glossy sleeve, so hopefully you won't have any static issues. This doesn't feel too bad, to be honest. So again, I don't need to show you all 3 here because they all look pretty much the same. But here's the start of the first disc that starts off with Strawberry Fields Forever. And then on the second side, again, you've got your cut apple there with the second side of tracks on there. So again, I'm just going to talk through some of the songs that I've picked out that I didn't necessarily get to talk about in that previous video, ones that I've sort of learnt more about since and had a good chance to listen to more since. So Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane, they're pretty similar to what you would if you've got the 2015 OnePlus box. This is based on those remixes, so you're not really getting anything new there. Similar with the Sgt. Pepper stuff, that's the same mixes as you've had on the Sgt. Pepper box from 2017, and that's a thing with a lot of this Blue album is that we've already had a lot of these mixes already. They'll have been remastered for this release to give a more consistent volume level between different albums worth of material, but still they're not necessarily all new mixes. Like the Red album, minus the Revolver stuff, is all pretty new to us. So again, I seem to have a little bit of a difference of opinion to a lot of people on I Am the Walrus. There's a lot of people really not liking that mix. I'm still sticking to my opinion that certainly through headphones anyway, it's a great mix apart from the ending. I agree with most people. The ending is weird. It's really ramped up on the radio, switching between the radio frequencies. Too loud in the mix and it drowns everything else out. So that was, I'm certainly going to agree with the comments that said that, but overall I still am a big fan of this I Am the Walrus mix through headphones. I will add that caveat. I need to spend more time with it through the speakers, which I'm going to do certainly now that I've got the vinyl over the weekend. Hello Goodbye sounds really good, as does The Fool on the Hill, but Magical Mystery Tour, here is a highlight of the Blue album. Magical Mystery Tour sounds fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And it's an unusual start. There's one thing that I would have liked a little bit different. The first roll up is very drowned out in the mix. Certainly the first roll up, you don't hear it very well. But then Magical Mystery Tour has got fantastic guitar part that's really been brought through one channel. I think it's on the right channel if I remember rightly. And I was thinking, this sounds like, if you imagine really early Beatles guitar work on something like Roll Over Beethoven or something from Please Please Me, a real sort of chugging Vox amp type of early Beatles guitar. You've got that all through Magical Mystery Tour, and it sounds fantastic. I really love the new mix of Magical Mystery Tour. Lady Madonna, Hey Jude, again not really sort of too dissimilar to what we've had on previously, because they're reusing some of these mixes. Revolution, a little bit disappointing. I don't think it's a killer mix as it could have been. But then, one thing I wanted to just mention, because I know it's of interest to some people, frankly I couldn't care less about this. On the Ballad of John and Yoko, some people have been wondering about, there's an extra piano note appeared during the Abbey Road box set a few years ago, and it's you don't take nothing with you but your soul, think, and there's like a piano note that Paul's playing, and there's an extra piano note. It's still on here. That really annoys some people. I really don't care. So what? It's, you know, Paul McCartney played it and it's there. I'm not fussed about that, but I know some people have been asking about it. Let It Be sounds great, but again, it's not really too different to what we've had before. And Now and Then, I did a comparison on Now and Then between the CD single and the CD version on the Blue album. If you think that the CD single is a little bit loud for Now and Then, you might prefer the version on the Blue album, because it is definitely noticeably a little bit quieter. They've dialed it back. I think that's probably so that it fits in more with what else is on here, but it's certainly been dialed back a bit. So I'm liking a lot of what I've heard on the Blue album so far, certainly, but yeah, I want to get to know it more so that I can come with a much fuller review, kind of when the dust has settled, along with the live stream that I'm going to do, that you're all, of course, invited to, which I will let people know when that's going to happen, but hopefully probably next week sometime. So are you picking these up? Let me know. I'll be very interested to hear from you about where you've got this from. Have you had a delay in getting it? Because there have been some delays. And thank you very much for watching. I will see you again very soon. Bye.